New York has been the home of the Professional Fighters League for the last month, and we're back again, looking to build off a wild start to the 2019 season. With 2 events in the books so far, it's been all about fast finishes. And Thursday night at NYCB Live's Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum, it's time for the big hitters to make their debut. The light heavyweights and heavyweights are ready to step centre cage at PFL 3. Hello and welcome, I'm Caroline Pearce, joined by the MMA lightweight legend, Yves Edwards. And in today's show, we'll be looking ahead at all those bouts in the light heavyweight and the heavyweight divisions. Plus, we'll be joined by some of those fighters straight off of the scale, talking to us about their bouts. But Yves, I want to ask you, with the 2 biggest weight divisions in action Thursday night, what can we look out for?
We can look out for big punches and big finishes. I mean, these 2 weight classes love to finish fights, go out there, score points, and get their way into the playoffs.
Okay, looking to get finished early, I expect. So let's get excited and talk about the top 5 storylines to watch out for on Thursday night. And first off, Vinny Magalhaes is back for the belt. He was the #1 seed going into the finals last year before losing by 3rd round TKO to Sean O'Connell.
He was, but Alex Nicholson is also coming back. He's a knockout show. All of his fights end in knockout, whether he's delivering or receiving.
Okay, and the undefeated Jordan Johnson makes his PFL debut. A wrestler, so far he's 10-0, coming off a 4-0 bout with the UFC, or run with the UFC.
And we have Olympic gold medalist Satoshi Ishii, a judo player who I'm expecting a lot from this season.
Okay, so lots to look forward to. Now, we've had an impressive 40% stoppage rate. 8 out of the 20 fights so far this season have finished in the first round. So, Yves, I want you to talk us through those 8 finishes.
I was so excited at these fights. I mean, Magomed Karamov showing us exactly why he's the champ. Dominating position, dominating in the striking, and using all of that to set up this guillotine. The very same guillotine, arm-in guillotine that he won the championship with last year.
Against a very tough opponent moving up from middleweight in John Howard there.
Yeah, it was beautiful. The champ is true to form.
And what about Glyco França?
Glyco França, one of the new bloods this season, put a lot of pressure on his opponent, just came forward constantly, got the takedown, and was able to sink in the rear naked choke for 6 points.
And here's our lightweight champion, Nathan Schultz.
Yeah, copying Glyco França with the rear naked, but changing it a little bit with the naked grip, hiding that hand so it can't be defended. It's much harder to defend, and he's got himself 6 points also.
And then new blood, Ahmed Aliyev from Dagestan. What a performance he put on.
Oh, Ahmed Aliyev, this young man has 3 losses on his record, and those were at featherweight. Now he's moved up to lightweight. He feels that the weight cut was damaging him, and he feels much stronger now, and he showed that in this fight.
And the first ever women's lightweight division, and Sarah Kaufman, the most experienced fighter in that division.
And she showed that experience against Morgan Fryer. She was dominant from top position, landed this head and arm choke, and got herself 6 quick points.
And Luis Rafael Lorenzino, another new PFL. Look at this.
Yes, he's 34 fights, 26 years old, and 1 loss. Now he's at 34 wins, and I'm really impressed by this young man.
And take a look at this, 17 seconds for Sadibou from Sweden, the Swedish Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington is a smooth man, and so is Sadibou. Beautiful liver kick, 17 seconds in. His first fight at welterweight in the Professional Fighters League, and he looks dominant sitting atop of the leaderboard.
Okay, and if you think you thought you couldn't top that, you could. 10 seconds it took Movlid Khaybulaev to do just this.
One technique, boom, beautiful flying knee. Movlid Khaybulaev is at the top of the featherweight standings with simply one technique. I'm blown away by that. My jaw was sitting trapped open when he did that technique.
His jaw sat on the floor. That was one hell of a knockout. And look at that, that secures the #1 spot in PFL history for fastest finishes. Look at that, number 6, number 3, and number 1 finishes that have already taken place this season and have landed themselves on the fastest finishes in PFL history.
Yeah,
quite some performance.
Those beautiful performances.
Okay, well, let's look at the standings so far this season. We start with the welterweight division. We saw Sadibou there, also picking up 6 points, Glyco França. Then we've got Magomed Karamov, the champion. And let's mention Ray Cooper, the 3rd finalist last season. Sarah Kaufman with those 6 points. 2-time Olympic gold medalist Kayla Harrison picking up 3, as did Roberta Samad and Bobby Joe Diao. So points on the board for those women. And our featherweight stand is 10 seconds for Movlid Khaybulaev, 23 seconds for Luis Rafael Lorenzino, and then picking up 3 points, Andre Harrison, and our former champion, or our champion from last season, Lance Palmer. Lightweight standards, Ahmed Aliyev, great performance by him, and the champion Nathan Schultz sitting pretty just underneath him with 6 points also. And if you're not used to seeing point standards in MMA, that's because the PFL is the first promotion to treat MMA like a major sports league. So check this out. 68 fighters compete in 6 weight divisions, and every fighter started the season on equal footing. They're all competing for points, and the league awards bonus points for early stoppages, which is why we've had all the fast starts. The top 8 fighters in each men's division will compete in the playoffs, fighting twice in one night to reach the final. And the season will conclude once again on New Year's Eve, 6 title fights, and the winner of each takes home $1 million. So let's bring it back now to PFL 3 and the first opportunity for our light heavyweights and our heavyweights to get points on the board. No returning champions in either division. In the light heavyweights, the champion Sean O'Connell has retired and become our lead play-by-play analyst. And unfortunately, in the heavyweight division, the champion Felipe Lins is out with injury, so a chance to crown 2 brand new champions. So let's take a look at the light heavyweight lineup for this season. Okay, so new fighters and returning fighters to look out for there, but all eyes, there it is, on Vinny Magalhaes from Brazil, former Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion. Vinny was the runner-up last season, but I mean, until that point, he was the most dominant across the whole season, finishing all 4 of his fights.
Very dominant, and he showed a lot of new skills in that dominance. He showed us what he's known for, his jiu-jitsu. I mean, Vinny is a world-class jiu-jitsu player, one of the best in the world, but look at that time. Under 2 minutes, 1 minute 37 seconds. And then his second fight with Brendan Halsey, a good wrestler. We expected this fight to happen on the ground, but no, Vinny made this a striking match, dominated with punches in just 1 minute and 34 seconds.
Wow.
I mean, very, very quick finishes. And then in the playoffs, he gets Raheem Cleveland out of there with a triangle Kimura combination. I mean, that combination is beautiful, and he finished that also in less than 1.5 minutes. And then his final dominant performance was against Bozagit Atayev with this Kimura. And look at that, just under 2 minutes, 1 minute 58 seconds. Vinny Magalhaes was the man going into the finals. Very dangerous.
Dance to celebrate, he should. Let's take a look at this. Vinny Magalhaes spent a total of 6 minutes and 29 seconds in the cage leading up to the final. I mean, that's efficient work. But a tough first matchup for Vinny with Emiliano Sordi. This is a South American showdown, Brazil versus Argentina. And when it comes to Sordi, his fights always seem to end in a finish, whether he's the one finishing or getting finished. 20 of 25 fights of his have ended with a finish. That's impressive, but if Vinny Magalhaes gets you to the ground, it could well be night-night. And we're joined now by Vinny Magalhaes. Thank you for joining us. Look, you got the runner-up spot last season. I know you want to go one step further. I mean, where's your mindset at coming into season 2?
Well, I didn't even like talking about the fight anymore. You know, I'm way past that. Season 2019, so just like last year, you know, I came here like to win the tournaments, not just to participate. And actually, I see a lot of guys that are just happy to be here, just be part of it. And I never had the mindset in any competition that I've entered. So same thing as last year, except that this year I have to win.
You and your opponent, Emiliano Sordi, you can finish fights quickly. How is this fight going to play out?
One punch. Takedown, submission. That's the goal. If it's gonna go that way, I don't know, but that's the game plan. There's no surprise. People see what I want to do. If I'm able to take the fight to the ground, that's usually how it goes. Quick finishes, except the championship fight last year, but whatever. We don't talk about that one.
Well, let's talk about the fights before that, because it was just 6 minutes and 29 seconds worth of cage time leading up to that final. In an ideal world, you'd look to get things done as quickly this year, get those points, 6 points each time.
The whole thing, especially the regular season, to try to get those 6 points, especially in the first fight, so extremely important for me. It's because I believe that, let's hope that doesn't happen. But if I get injured, anything happens in the first fight, with 6 points, I should be able to qualify to the playoffs. So that means that I could even not even fight the second fight and just focus on the playoffs. So it's important for me to get those 6 points this week.
How much does the number 1 seed spot mean to you?
It's not about the number 1 seed, it's about 6 points. Again, the time's gonna count. If I finish a fight in 20 seconds, somebody's gonna have to finish a fight at least in 19 seconds in order to take my spot. So it's always about those numbers.
We don't have to talk about the fight anymore, but what did you learn from that fight that you made changes to your game from?
The fight itself, I don't think there's much, there's not much to learn from it. People saw me tired. It did happen. I got tired. I was frustrated walking to the cage. Things happened in training. But, a lot of people asking, why did you change to approach that fight? It's I didn't change anything. My training camp, through the year was great. I wasn't trained per fight. It was a season training. So I was training throughout the year. And then 3 weeks before, something happened. And I felt they interfered in the fight. And it wasn't much just physical, it was also mental. I walked into that fight not expecting to apply my best, which is grappling. I couldn't grapple. So I went to the fight thinking about, well, I gotta get lucky somehow, maybe throw something, knock him out. And that's not the best approach to taking a fight. So,
Not with
you know.
Sean O'Connor.
Well, let's look at towards this season. Any of the new PFLers in the light heavyweight division that you think would be exciting fights for you or fights that you'd want? Have you had a look across the roster?
Jordan Johnson, I wouldn't want to fight him. I don't know if I want to fight him next fight, down the road, like the playoffs or final.
You like that matchup?
I do love that one, yeah. I love that one. I love the fact that he has no losses. I could give him the
Take
first
that
one.
O.
Yeah, I could give him the first one.
Well, let's talk about this fight. Give us your prediction for Emiliano Sodi.
You know, I want to get another submission, just like I did like last year in the first fight. And then that's how it's going to go.
Okay, we'll look out for that. Well, you can catch Vinny as the featured fight, the last fight of the night on ESPN+. Vinny, best of luck. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
So let's take a look at Vinny's opponent, Emiliano Sodi, and his action from last season.
Well, it wasn't much in his first fight. Emiliano Sodi used his footwork, set it up, and he shows his uppercut, and then boom, lands it on the inside against Butcher, taking him out really quick.
16 seconds.
16 seconds is really quick. I mean, almost as fast as
Mobley Tagulayev, yeah.
But then in his second fight against Bozagit Atayev, I mean, Bozagit was able to land the big right hand, stuns Emiliano, and then follows it up and just pounds on him with those clubs that he calls fists and gets him out of there in the playoffs. So, I mean, Emiliano Sodi, he's shown us both sides of his game. He showed us he's vulnerable, but he also showed us he's dangerous.
Okay, so how do you see this one playing out?
Oh, this is a very tough fight for both men, always. But Vinny Magalhaes, he should definitely be the favorite and the threat going into this one.
Okay, well, let's take a look at Jordan Johnson. New blood, fresh talent coming into the PFL. Johnson is undefeated at 10-0, coming off a 4-0 run in the UFC. And he could be a guy that could challenge Vinny this season.
Absolutely. I mean, he's got a very good wrestling pedigree, and he's a very smart young fighter. I'm looking forward to seeing his season play out.
Okay, well, his first test will come against Maxim Grishin, returning from last season. He has the most wins in light heavyweight history. He also trains or has trained alongside Fedor Emelianenko. This is one tough Russian test.
Yeah, he is. I mean, with that level of experience, with that level of combat training partners, Jordan Johnson has his hands full, but he's also an Iowa State wrestler. He's a very smart young man. He's undefeated 4-0 in the UFC also. I mean, he's got a very good credential behind him also.
Okay, that's one to look forward to. Now, Johnson enters the league not just as an unbeaten fighter, but also as a new father. And it's his one-year-old son, Jack, that changed Johnson's perspective on MMA and led him straight to the PFL.
You know, fighting is a very dangerous sport, and there's really serious repercussions if you stay in the sport too long or take too much damage. So when I found out I was having my son, I was like, what am I doing? This is, I can't fight. Like, I can't be a fighter and have a baby. This is dangerous. What am I gonna be like in 10 years, 20 years? And I was like kind of freaking out. I was like, I can't fight. I have a family. I wanna give my family the best life possible, so I can justify why I fight the way I fight. I've been pretty open about it. Like, if I wasn't gonna get paid appropriately, like, I was okay moving on to the next step of my life, which is being a stay-at-home dad. But the PFL came and gave me a great deal, a better deal than any other organization. And like, this has a season, so you go do a good job, you get $1 million. And these other organizations, you sign on, you might get a good contract, a good show, a good win, but you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know when your next fight's gonna be. You have no idea. You say the wrong thing. At the end of the year, you do what you're supposed to do. You get your money and you get $1 million. So, yeah, 100% that I can justify fighting. I can justify taking these risks because I can get $1 million at the end of the year. You sign on with any other organization, you're taking a risk because you don't know when you're fighting. And there's just a lot of things out of your hands. And with the PFL, your contract says you have dates, and that's it. So I don't have to worry about anything else except for getting ready and performing. I plan on taking this division with the things I've been doing for years and years and years. There's no one's waking up right now and saying, I'm gonna go get that $1 million because I'm motivated today. It's because I've been motivated since, for a very long time. I've been working very hard, and that's why I'm winning this tournament.
And we're joined now by Jordan Johnson. Thanks so much for talking to us. Look, excited you're here at the PFL. What can the fans look forward to from you?
Exciting fights, a lot of pressure. I like to move forward. I like to, dictate where the fight goes, and I try to put on dominant performances. I try to win every second that I can. So, action-packed, me moving forward.
That's what we like.
From what I've seen of you, you're a smart fighter, pretty cerebral. You're facing a guy with a lot more experience. How are you going to close that gap?
Pressure. I don't think he's fought a lot of guys. He's got 4 times the fights that I have, but he's never fought anyone like me. So I'm going to fight like me, and he's not going to enjoy it.
We know you're used to fighting Russians, coming off a win against a Russian in your last UFC fight. So any insights there?
I'm a huge Russian combat sports fan. I've been pretty vocal about it. I mean, you can even go look at my bios in college. You know, I talk about Fedor being a hero of mine, a guy that actually, you know, he was the first guy that I saw in MMA, and I was like, oh man, this is awesome. Like, and I started following other MMA fighters, and before that, I was following all the Russian wrestlers. So
you know what to expect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, talk to us a little bit about your son Jack and what everyone calls him in the gym, because he's at the gym with you a lot, right?
Coach Jack.
Coach Jack. I like that.
Yeah, he's
Is Coach Jack going to be here?
He's not. He's with Grandma right now, so haven't brought him to any fights yet. I don't know if I ever will. Okay. So I like the relationship that we have, where I'm, you know, Daddy Jordan, not Fighter Jordan. Yeah. So I guess he stays in the gym, but.
Look, let's talk about your opponent, Maxim Grishin. Like, if you were to give us a prediction how you'd like this one to go down, what would it be?
I finish as fast as possible.
Get those 6 points.
Get in, no damage, and get the points.
Yeah. Okay, well, we look forward to it. You can catch Jordan on ESPN2 this Thursday night. Thank you so much for talking to us. Best of luck.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you.
Transitioning now to the heavyweight division, full of action-packed fighters, and none more so than Alex the Spartan Nicholson. Whether he's knocking people out or getting knocked out, you can guarantee fireworks when Alex steps in the cage.
You can always guarantee fireworks when the Spartan steps in there. Why? Because this is Sparta when he's around. And Alex Nicholson, he has two personalities. And let's take a look at the good side of Alex Nicholson. Alex Nicholson's the kind of guy that when the pressure's on, he's going to find a way to win. We saw that in his fight with JQ, and he was losing this fight in the first round, but he came back with that Superman flying knee out of nowhere and landed it. Then, in his fight with his nemesis from last season, Jack May, dominated from the outside with leg kicks, got Jack May on his heels, put him down, and just pounded on him with big punches to get him out of there. Now, Alex Nicholson, he's shown us that he can take the lead, he can be behind and find a way out. But Alex Nicholson is also running into some problems, and here's the bad side of him. He can get overly aggressive. There are times when he comes forward and he just runs in the shot. It's like a head-on collision when you run into these heavyweights. Why? Because boom, look at that. He's stunned, he's trying to protect himself, but he can't. Felipe Lins, the champ from last season, saw that opening and he was able to pour it on and get Alex out of there. And then in another fight with Josh Copeland last season, Alex Nicholson again is coming forward and he runs into the big right hand of Copeland and bink, sleepy time. I mean, he's laid out like a starfish. I've been there once and I tell you, it's no fun.
I can imagine. Well, Nicholson's first test will come against the #1 seed going into the playoffs from last season, Francimar Belaroso. Now, Francimar is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He grew up playing with panthers and crocodiles along the southern edge of the Amazon rainforest. So, I don't know, I think Nicholson might fancy himself as a bit of a crocodile or a panther in the cage.
Well, he is a shark, that's for sure.
And here he is, the man himself, Alex Spartan Nicholson.
How y'all doing today?
You fancy yourself as a panther or a crocodile?
I'm like the chupacabra, the Sasquatch. I'm the monster in the woods that everybody wonders if they're gonna see him.
Okay, well, we're looking forward to seeing you in there on Thursday night. Look, tell us, you had some real highs and then some lows last season. What changes, if any, have you made coming into season 2?
Just being more patient. I don't think that Copeland or Felipe beat me. I think it was more me beating myself, the mistakes I made. So I'm gonna sit back, relax, and enjoy this and use my athleticism properly.
So what are you going to bring to this fight with Barroso when you say you're going to sit back and relax? What changes for you now?
I think I'm going to be more of a calculated killer in there. Like, I'm going to make the right decisions at the right times. I'm not going to present that opportunity to get finished. I think, at this level, small mistake, you wake up wondering what happened, and I'm not going to let that be the case.
Okay. We know you put on quite significant weight in the off-season because you were kind of one of the lighter heavyweights last year. So how much weight have you gained and how are you feeling walking around at that heavier weight?
Well, honestly, I've only packed on about 15 pounds,
okay.
But even right now, I could lose 20 pounds if I didn't hydrate properly and eat. I could be 240 and the next day I can be 220 after a training session. So I'm just staying hydrated, got my nutrition down. And it took some months to get it down properly. But we finally did that, and I think I'm going to be able to use this new frame to cause some damage, and that's what everybody wants to see.
Yeah, your fan-friendly style has always been impressive.
You're still training with some tough guys in Orlando, but you're making a trip down south to Sunrise and training with Roger Crawl. What is he bringing to your game?
Roger just has a lot of knowledge, and he's trained a lot of top-end fighters, and he knows what it takes in the gym to get the job done. So more of attention to detail. Back hitting mitts, he's able to hold the mitts in a way that I haven't had anybody be able to do in a long time. I think just more precision with the power, time management, just more of the mental aspect. And it's good to find somebody you can respect in that sense, to where I'm actually listening and not just going, oh, yeah, okay. But Roger, I'm glad to have him on the team. And I think you guys are going to see a little bit of a change in the way that I get the job done.
Well, this season, you've been here, you know what it's like, you know what it takes. Is there anybody out there you're looking at as like, that's the challenge I want, that's the guy I need to take out to get this $1 million?
Well, they're hyping up these new guys. One of them is considered to be a kickboxing world champion. I think I could kickbox him, and I would like to do that. I think I could just, get some, call it thug jitsu. I think I could hit him with some thug boxing. But any of the guys, man, anybody that says that they're going to beat me, that's who I want to fight.
You like the challenge. Like, talking about Barroso, what's the prediction if you had to give us one?
He's going to sleep, man. And I think, his best aspects is grappling. And I think if we hit the floor, he's going to be like, wow, this guy can grapple. Okay. Jacare Souza, Adolfo Vera. I got the Michael Jordans of jiu-jitsu on my team. Let's put it to the test, baby.
Yeah, let's do it. We look forward to it. Thank you so much for talking to us. Alex will be the featured fight against Francimo Barroso on ESPN2.
Appreciate y'all time.
Well, Alex's opponent, Francimo Barroso, is no slouch. 50% of his wins have come by knockout. Let's take a look at him in action.
Well, when we take a look at him in action from last season against Dan Gallimore, we see him just unleash a barrage of punches, just a flurry, coming forward, landing big shots, swells up that eye, gets the doctor to step in and call the fight, get himself 6 points. And then against Jack May, he was dominant. He changed up his game. He put Jack May on his back, and he worked for this head and arm choke, and a beautiful, beautiful technique. He showed us that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt.
Well, against Alex Nicholson, who do you think gets their hand raised?
Ooh, this is a tough fight. Alex Nicholson is a new man. I mean, everybody always talks about the new and improved. Well, Alex Nicholson has put on some weight. He's changed his training camp. And I believe the coaches that he's with now, they're going to help him understand why you and when to be aggressive and come forward, and when to hold back and hold yourself reserved.
Okay, well, another fight you do not want to miss in the heavyweight division is that of Mama's Boy versus Mo Muscle. That is Kelvin Tiller, and his biggest fan is Mum, Patricia Reigns, against the undefeated Mohamed Derice. I mean, let's take a look at both of these in action from last season.
Oh, man, these two gentlemen, when they step into the cage, you know somebody's going to get hit and somebody's going to go down. It's crazy. Both these men have knockout power, and they're both very good and very athletic. Mohamed Derice, he was dominant last season against Mike Kyle. He showed his jiu-jitsu game, he showed his wrestling, and he showed us the big power in his punches when he got to the top. He made Mike Kyle tap from punches. That is something that you rarely see because it's a faux pas in fighting. And then we get,
ooh, an athleticism.
We get a backflip out of him at the end of that. And then we see Mama's Boy, Kelvin Tiller. And Kelvin, he's very athletic in his own right. Beautiful overhand right to take out Kyle Alencar early. Big right hand. He showed us his power. But then in his second fight...
There's Mama.
There's Mama screaming and loving her boy. And then he showed us against the All-American wrestler in Jared Rosholt. He dominated this fight. He was able to take the wrestler down, but then when the wrestler got in on this head outside single, he's looking to fight for that guillotine. He showed his striking from the outside. But let's take a look, and when he finishes this fight with that guillotine, look at that high elbow guillotine. When you see the tap, showed good technique in his jiu-jitsu. Mama's very happy, and he showed us good wrestling also. He's got that hand raised. I can't wait for this fight. This is the fight I'm most excited about.
And joined now by Mama's Boy himself, Kelvin Tiller. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Look, fantastic season leading into the playoffs last year, but how confident are you for season 2 of the PFL?
I'm always confident, always ready to go. I've been having training since February, so I'm excited. I'm ready to go. Last year I was cutting from 290. This year I walked in at 267, no cutting weight, so I feel good.
Amazing.
You've changed some things in your camp and your style. What's going to be new for you this season? What are we going to see different?
Just being more active, more body shots, more kicks, stuffing a takedown, not let people just take me down and just hold me. Just being more active, more punches, more kicks, more everything.
You're quite open on your Instagram about saying, you know, I come from nothing and how much this means to you. Just put into words for us how much this opportunity and, you know, the chance to win that $1 million means to you. You have a big family, don't you, as well, to support?
Yes, it means everything to me because a lot of kids in my neighborhood look up to me. Where I come from, they look up to me. So, like I say, just to be here is to inspire. I want to inspire people. I want to uplift people and let them know that they can do, you know, big things besides, you know, going to the street life, you know. So me being here is for my people and where I come from and people that look up to me, and not just so much for, you know, the glory and the fame and the money. I just want to inspire. So that's what that means to me to be here.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
I have a two-parter for you. Like, you've been here before, you know what the season's like, and you know what it's going to take to get to the finals and win that $1 million. How do you get there, and what do you do with that $1 million for that community?
Hard work will get me there. Dedication will get me there. Once I do get the $1 million, I got people back at home that's been helping me about real estate and really trying to invest my money and into the right businesses so I can have money down the future, and then I can get back to my community. I want to own a community center one day because that's what really helped me out. So I want to invest in that one day. I'm actually going to school to get my high school diploma right now, so I can get my barber's license. And so I just want to give back, you know, just like that. So once I get the money, I'll invest right into it. I don't care about like Gucci and Prada and expensive cars. I drive a 1998 Suburban, you know what I mean? You know, and you know, I took care of my sisters and my mom and them, you know, last year. So I just want to really give back to my community, and I'm gonna do a lot of good things for them.
And your first challenge will be Mohamed Derice. Obviously, I'm sure you've seen him in action. You know, what challenge, if any, does he pose, and what's your strategy for this one?
No strategy, just go in there and win. You know, I feel like I got better stand-up. I feel like I got better jiu-jitsu. So, like I say, no strategy, just go in there and win. Throw my punches, throw my kicks, let him feel what I got, and give him his first loss.
Well, most importantly, what does Mama say about this fight?
Stay off the ground, baby.
I was stood next to your mum last season when you were fighting Jared Rosholt. She was saying exactly the same thing.
Stay off the ground, baby. That's it. Stay off the ground. She don't got too much more advice for me. Stay off the ground and win.
I don't know why. I mean, your ground game is pretty solid. That high elbow guillotine you hit on Rosholt last season.
She don't understand, but she'll realize one day, like, okay, my baby do got ground game, because I got more wins on the ground, and she don't realize that. I just don't think she like me just to be on the ground.
She wants to see the big haymaker.
Right. So, yeah, stay off the ground.
Okay, well, best of luck.
Thank you very much.
You can catch Kelvin on ESPN Plus on Thursday night. I think it's quite likely we're going to see a finish one way or another in that fight. And talking of finishes, let's take a look at the 2018 regular season stoppage percentage. This should whet your appetite for Thursday night. The light heavyweights had a 92% stoppage rate last season. Heavyweights, 73%. Yves, you think we might see some finishes on Thursday night?
My fingers are crossed.
Well, I want to mention some of the other new fighters at PFL 3, new blood in the divisions. And, you know, who can we look out for?
We've got two big Samoans coming in, and one of them, Zeke Tuene Wiley, is facing an Olympic judo champion in Satoshi Ishii. I'm looking forward to that one.
And you've actually trained with Satoshi.
I trained with Satoshi early in his MMA career. What I learned about that young man is he's a student of the game. He wants to get better, and he works very hard. We were working paths together, and then he went off, fought Krokop twice, and now he's training with him. So that tells me the mentality of that young man, he's one who's going to constantly and consistently improve.
And he's fought some of the best in the world, basically.
Yeah, when we talk about fighting Krokop twice, he's fought for Fedor Emelianenko. I mean, these guys are the goats of kickboxing and MMA for the heavyweight division.
And great to have an Olympic champion on the roster, along with Kayla Harris and our 2-time judo Olympic gold medalist. What a load of talent here at PFL. Well, I want to mention Ronnie Marks. He's a returning PFLer from last season. He takes on Sigi Pesalele from New Zealand. Now, Ronnie didn't make weight, but Sigi is taking the fight regardless. He gets 3 points, win or lose. But as a fighter, he wants that opportunity to fight for 6 points.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he came here to fight, and those extra points are definitely an enticing proposition. So he's going out there to get his W. Okay,
and Ronnie's fighting purely for his pay and for pride. Okay, well, let's take a look at the full schedule of fights coming up this Thursday night. Kicking off the night on ESPN2 from 7 p.m. Eastern is a rematch from last season between Dan Spon and Bozigi Atiev. Spon coming out the victor last time. And we have the highly anticipated debut in the PFL of undefeated fighter Jordan Johnson. The featured fight on ESPN2 is between Alex the Spartan Nicholson and Francimar Barroso. One way or another with Nicholson, you're usually guaranteed a finish. The ESPN Plus card begins at 9 p.m. Eastern with Russia versus Russia. Rasid Yusupov broke his jaw last season. He's now healed up and ready to go again against Mikhail Mokhnoktin. And then we've got Rakim Cleveland returning, the man that broke his jaw, against a Russian himself in Viktor Nemkov. 2 Olympians feature on the ESPN Plus card also. That's Ali Asayev and Olympic champion Satoshi Ishii. And the final heavyweight fight of the night is between Kelvin Tiller and Mohamed Derice. That's Mama's Boy versus Mo Muscle, undefeated at 7-0. Then our light heavyweight runner-up from last season, Vinny Magalhaes, takes on Emiliano Sordi. That is a Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner against a striker. So, Yves, final thoughts. What are you most looking forward to?
Well, definitely the Tiller-Mohamed Derice fight. I mean, 2 big heavy hitters, 2 really athletic guys. That's going to be a lot of fun. But then this whole entire season, especially for the light heavyweights and the heavyweights, we're crowning new champions. So somebody new is going to have their hand raised. We're going to have a new millionaire, and that's going to be a whole lot of fun.
Absolutely. $1 million on the line come New Year's Eve. Well, thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in for the full fight card at PFL 3. Thursday night is MMA night. Coverage from NYCB Live's Nassau Coliseum begins Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN 2 and continues at 9 p.m. on ESPN Plus. For Yves Edwards, I'm Caroline Pearce. We will see you then.